Hello and welcome to Northern Undead Asylum. I'm GRJDwyer, and as ever I am joined by my esteemed co-host Wilson Rebello. You join us once again at McMurdo Station, where we have actually managed to acquire central heating. We are now warm, we have moved in, we have even brought some of our wares to the table. Wilson.
This week in gaming news. Cyberpunk 2077 surrounds itself in another controversy, asking a city in Brazil to clean a mural off a wall bearing the game's resemblance.
Que as pessoas te aumentam? É demais, é lindo. A gente tem sorte de fazer a coisa que o brasileiro ama muito, que é jogar futebol. Quando a gente joga futebol, futebol, né?
Se identificam com a gente, né? Quantos brasileiros que nem a gente tem que sai do nada e vinga, né? Que vence. As pessoas olham pra gente com uma referência de uma inspiração.
All future Star Wars games will now be under the Lucasfilms Games banner, prompting cosplay enthusiasts to celebrate in the hundreds. Katy Perry has announced a collaboration with Pokemon this week, which caused Growlithe, the actual Pokemon, to tweet this.
Katy Perry lol. First she takes my raw, now she is fucking with my homies bitch GTFO.
And finally, Bradley and Barney Walsh are devastated to hear their new pitch for a TV show, Brad and Barney Play Minecraft, has been rejected by all stations, even Netflix. What a pair of swats.
So that was this week in gaming news. Now, as ever, one of us always poses the simple yet effective question. Wilson, what have you been playing this week?
A game that has been on our radar for quite a long time.
Okay.
I reckon since it came out, which was I think 6 or 7 months ago. I finally got my hands on it. I found a cheap copy on Amazon. Thank you Amazon as ever. Jeff Bezos setting up the cheap games there. It's Ghost of Tsushima.
Ghost of Tsushima.
Ghost of Tsushima.
I was a bit worried about when I do that. Comes across a little bit insensitive, but great game. Wilson, you managed to play it this week. So
when you've been a samurai
Yep.
for at least as long as I have, just been in my head,
right.
Saying Ghost of Tsushima like that is completely fine because I now live the way of the samurai. Or have been while I've been playing this game.
Does Keanu Reeves get to say that? Was he the last samurai? That
he
was
would
Tom
never
Cruise. I think it was. Tom
Yeah,
Cruise.
it was, but Keanu would never say that. He would say, the last Ghost of Tsushima, because I cannot act, even though I am a super cool guy.
Good friend of mine.
Very cool guy, super cool, loved by everyone, loved by me,
Yeah.
can't act for shit.
Especially not in Cyberpunk 2077.
But anyway, back to Ghost of Tsushima. Amazing game, open world. I went off open worlds a little bit.
Okay.
I think I'm going to name this the Skyrim bug, where you feel a little bit overwhelmed sometimes by open worlds.
Yeah.
And when you sort of get bombarded with missions and side quests and mini games and a huge map, I think sometimes the pressure's a little bit on.
Do you think that comes from the fact that you are a pure platinumist?
Yeah, maybe so, mate, because there's that much to do.
Right.
Like, there's almost 45 trophies in the base game alone of Ghost of Tsushima. So, as someone who hunts for the platinum, that's a little bit overbearing. But the gameplay loop and the missions and the way you travel across the map is phenomenal.
Okay.
Again, Horse reminds me a lot of. It sort of meshed the best of both worlds. You've got Sekiro, which was for the combat and a linear storyline, and then you've got Red Dead Redemption 2, which is your huge open world narrative.
Yeah.
Them two games, if they got mashed together, would be somewhere where Ghost of Tsushima would fall. The combat's amazing, dead slick. The skill trees, every time you put something into a skill tree. You remember when you get skill trees and you read a point and you're like, that sounds brilliant, and then in practice it's absolutely dog shit.
It doesn't actually do anything.
Yeah, I've not found one yet where I've not gone, that's fucking mint, sweet. They all kind of do that. the map is absolutely enormous.
Okay.
But you're on horseback, which is how you travel in Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah.
It's fucking incredible. The sight is something to behold. I keep sending you.
Yeah, they've got
snapshots.
Yeah, they've got
the photo mode.
Yeah, they've got a really cool photo mode where you can kind of put like a sort of samurai sort of tint on it, like some of the old samurai films, and do some, you know, pretty cool things with the filters that you can put in there. Do you think there's been a, I wouldn't say there's been a resurgence in sort of the samurai games, but you know, I think we grew up with I think one of the first samurai games that I played was Tenchu Stealth Assassins.
Amazing.
Which, if you've never played it and you sort of appreciate Ghost of Tsushima, or you know, sort of Neo and things like that, go back and play it, because it is the mechanics in it are absolutely superb. It took stealth games to, you know, to a new cool and a bit of a new level. I think, you know, I used to there's some games I used to play called Dynasty Warriors, which were kind of cool, and Bushido Blade. Do you remember that?
Don't remember Bushido.
Bushido Blade was awesome.
Is it?
Yeah, it was basically like a sort of a combat game, similar to sort of Dead or Alive or something. You know, they kind of brought in those different levels that you could kind of go to, but in Bushido Blade you could kind of run around and have these fights on, you know, massive arenas.
Really?
On a PlayStation 1 it was pretty damn impressive, and some of the like sort of the kills and stuff were absolutely great. Superb game. Some of my fondest memories of samurai culture games.
Yes, a resurgence, that's a good point. I mean, it did enter my mind that a game like Sekiro and a game like Ghost of Tsushima are only, a year apart from each other.
Yeah.
And both of them, even though they have slightly similar themes in terms of culture and I suppose timing. Yeah, they are literally both in an open world game and in a linear combat game. Yep. Two of my favourite games in the last 2 years.
Neo,
on
sorry,
both.
you say?
No, not Neo. Sekiro.
Sekiro, sorry.
Didn't really like Neo.
No.
I liked it and I played it for a while, but the gameplay. There's a time when you play a game and you figure out what the gameplay loop is, and you go, this is why I'm enjoying it.
Right.
So for games like the Dark Souls series, there's not a thing that's not to be enjoyed in that. Finding a new map and travelling across, battling the enemies, getting killed, trying to push a little bit further, find a shortcut, make it to the boss room.
Do you think a protagonist such as obviously the guy in Ghost of Tsushima does represent that culture quite well? I think what put me off a little bit about Neo was, you know,
white Scottish guy.
Yeah,
it was a bit weird.
It was a bit weird. I thought he was Irish, but if it's
is he Irish? Yeah,
I can't remember. Patrick or whatever.
He talks like that though, doesn't he?
I mean, that's a pirate. But it was But it was kind of I think that's what kind of put me off in the initial of Neo. Now I know a couple of my friends that really, really enjoy Neo. I've seen a big shout out to James Galway, who's really gone hell for leather for the platinums on both. So you might be able to talk me around, but I think when I picked it up, I almost found it a little bit sort of cartoonish.
Yeah.
But
the art style, it was a slight put off. I still enjoyed it. But I do. But
I'm absolutely good to go at it again. But nice to see that one of us has found the time and managed to pick up Ghost of Tsushima.
I think my biggest gripe with Neo before moving a little bit more onto Ghost of Tsushima was I'd taken like 4 or 5 bosses on, so I was well into the game.
Okay.
And then I kind of got to a new stage, so you kind of get a map. It's similar to Dark Souls, where you've got a sort of area and you've got to get to the end, you fight a boss at the end.
Right.
Similar in that sense. And I got to a new part of the map, and it just felt like this is just a bit of a repeating,
a rehash. Yeah. Well, I think Neo was a lot more linear, wasn't it? Yeah. It's sort of taking on a little bit of the Dark Souls vein. Obviously, Ghost of Tsushima's open world, made by Sucker Punch.
Sucker Punch.
Do you know much about Sucker Punch?
I knew that they made Infamous
Second Son, and Infamous. I want to say Second Light, but it's not. I think it might be First Light or something which was like an add-on. I quite enjoyed those games. I think there was a kind of cool mechanic where you could kind of go to the evil or the dark, the light or the dark, which was something that I kind of embrace. Being such a young Jedi.
Evil.
And we do have someone that had to choose from the light and the dark, Revan just above Lee's head. It's worth a lot of money in that, actually. So so be careful. So Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah, absolutely 9 out of 10 so far.
Okay.
What about you? sir?
So obviously I went through a little bit of a crybaby period when I came out of my experience with Cyberpunk 2077. I've made under no disillusion that I didn't enjoy the game very much.
Yeah.
I thought it was a massive letdown. Lo and behold, the community gathered around me and they took me in as one of their own, and they said, GRJDwyer, have you played Cloudpunk? Now I was like, what is Cloudpunk? You know, you sometimes get these rip-off movies that you see in Tesco's that are called like the Megalodon, and it's not quite Jason Statham, so this is what I was expecting. I was sort of expecting a shit Jason Statham version of Cyberpunk 2077. It's actually awesome.
The biggest indicator for me that I knew it would be a good game is when you told me about it, and I went onto YouTube to watch the standard review as you do, and the first one that came up was like, Cloudpunk, Blade Runner the game? Question mark, question mark? I was like, so yeah, explain me how it's...
We are both Blade Runner fans, as you can see. We've got some pretty cool additions behind us. We've got the first
VHS?
cut. We've got the VHS as well. We've got the first cut, the director's cut, the Harrison Ford
and
cut.
final. So we've made full circle. We've got Blade Runner director's cut on VHS, and we've got the final cut.
We have got
on,
the final
on
cut
Blu-ray.
somewhere.
That is.
We have got the Blu-ray somewhere.
Yeah.
I think that was delivered by Rania to Novalis, which is basically what the game's about. So Cloudpunk is basically an Uber Eats delivery game in its simplest form, but the DNA that it's made up of is a lot more complex than that. You are a character called Rania, who, you know, as I said, is a delivery driver that traverses across the metropolis Novalis. Now, beautifully designed, superb art style, engrossing story, and just got a lot of depth to it for something that is a pixel art game. Sorry, voxel art game.
Voxel art.
Voxel art. So voxel art is a little bit like, you know, this kind of stuff that you see in Minecraft, but it's very colourful and sort of stuff like that. It's not. I mean, me saying it's Minecraft art will get me absolutely slaughtered, but it's that, you can imagine that sort of thing. It's made up of squares. Yeah. So. This game completely sort of took me in. Developed by Iron Lands, it came out last year in 2020, and has quickly gained quite a quick
cult following.
Yeah, cult following, and a good community around it. The developers are, as we speak, sort of updating the game and adding new.
Oh, nice. So it's an ongoing game.
Yeah, I mean, it's available on nearly all platforms digitally, and they kind of take that opportunity to, you know, update it as regularly as possible. There's, you know, I wouldn't say that there's more additions to that, but there's a lot of things that have kind of been little bugs and everything that, you know, they've kind of done the Hello games and kind of ironed them out as they've gone forward, and added incredible additions such as a cockpit mode, which if you are a Blade Runner fan and you've got that, you know, you want to see yourself kind of flying around in a futuristic landscape, I could not recommend it more. That feature isn't available on sort of PlayStation 4 and Xbox, but it will come at some point. It's available on PC.
Nice.
I've had a little go on VR on the Oculus on a PC, and it was mind-blowing. So give it a go. Pick it up if you can. That's Cloudpunk for you.
One extra sale already there.
Yep.
I think that's gaming this week, isn't it?
Yeah.
We've boxed it.
I think we can kind of box that off.
And as we follow a formula here on Talking Souls, on Northern Undead Asylum, we'll move on to our next favourite form of digital art, and that is movies. So I'll ask you the question, seen anything?
Yeah, well, I've actually gone back, as I'm totally engrossed in, I seem to completely surround myself with stuff when I'm kind of into it, so I'll read books, comics, anything that's kind of similar to kind of vein that I'm into at the moment. And I went back and revisited Ghost in the Shell. Scarlett Johansson version. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. I actually thoroughly enjoyed it, and that's from somebody that, you know, has watched the anime and, you know, was completely kind of taken by the whole the whitewashing and things like that. And then I kind of thought about it when I was, you know, going back and reading an anime version of a digital comic that I own. And Scarlett Johansson's character Major is not depicted as a Japanese woman in the form that Scarlett Johansson portrays her. There is a little bit of a twist to the story where, of course, she is Japanese, and I don't think I'm spoiling anything by saying that. Right. It's, you know, the person that she comes from. and I think they handled it pretty damn well.
So was the controversy around?
Yeah, the controversy was basically I think they could have found Asian actors that could have played it. They absolutely could. I'm not disputing that for 1 minute.
She takes some flack, Scarlett Johansson, didn't she? Play a transgender character that she got in.
No, she dropped the role.
She dropped the role.
She dropped the role. She didn't, and all credit to her. I think Scarlett Johansson has tried to deliberately find more alternative roles, but has been so kicked from pillar to post by sort of geek communities and online communities.
I like her. She's cool.
That she's ended up, doing the Marvel films, and
she makes a great Black Widow.
I mean, she does make a great Black Widow, but it's pouting and all that. But she does look pretty good in a bodysuit. But that's not the reason I'm a fan. I've watched quite a few of the Scarlett Johansson films. So a couple of her indies where she played a sort of an alien. If you've seen Species film, she played a similar role to that in a film, and it was just it's a good watch. You got your man out of the Game of Thrones there that plays a great Biku.
Which one out of the 1,000 characters in Game of Thrones?
Oh, is he called? What's he called? He nearly takes the throne as well. The actor who plays him is...
Little scruffy bugger.
Yeah, Pilu Asbarak, I think I've got written down here. He's basically, the guy in Game of Thrones who kind of sacks all the pirates. And basically tries to fuck his way to the throne.
Yeah, with the big eyes.
He has
the fight with Jamie Lannister at the end.
He's
horrible.
He is horrible.
He might be a great actor and a nice guy, but
he plays a really good Batu.
Does he?
It's a good film. It's shot really well.
Yeah.
The CGI and everything is pretty cool. The soundtrack in it is great, and it really kind of give me when I went to go and find Cyberpunk 2077, I really wanted to kind of get involved with those sort of things and get fully involved. And it didn't encapsulate what I thought of that atmosphere, whereas going back to sort of Cloudpunk and looking at Ghost of the Shell.
Oh, Ghost of Tsushima.
Ghost in the Shell. Sorry.
Ghost in the Shell.
Kind of brought me round a little bit and kind of threw me back into that whole sort of atmosphere and exactly what I was looking for. So I was a little bit distracted there because in Manchester at the moment we are currently, obviously we're not in Manchester, we're in Antarctica, but the actual in Manchester at the minute there is ridiculous rain. And we're in a building that is.
We're just getting reports live from the weather crashing, crashing down all across Greater Manchester. Hope everyone's all right.
It does. Also, managed to catch a couple of episodes of Raised by Wolves.
Oh, okay.
Which is, if you've seen Prometheus and Alien Covenant, it's I think where Ridley Scott was going. So whole sort of creation, sort of androids, sort of finding God and reasoning.
Definitely.
Exceptional series so far. I'm only 3 episodes in, but what an art style. Obviously it's got Ridley Scott at the helm, so it's going to look pretty special. I think quite a lot of budget has been thrown at it.
I didn't even know he'd done this.
Yeah, check it out. It's good. It's a HBO Max, so it's we struggle to get somewhere. I think it's on Sky Atlantic in the Antarctic, but it's it's a really, really good watch, and definitely those sort of sleek sci-fis that are coming out that are a little bit bigger budget. You've got your Star Trek Discoveries, and you've got your what's the series that Amazon just took over? Slips of mind, but they're all kind of gearing towards that sort of sleek sci-fi. A bit gritty, like the old Battlestar Galactica, one of my favourite series of all time. Absolutely amazing. Please make a return. But yeah, as we go.
Nice.
As we go. What have you been watching?
I've been one film that I did see that I didn't actually get to watch. I only watched about 10 minutes of it, but I've never had a 10 minutes in the middle of a film capture me as much as this. It's called Elephant by Gus Van Sant.
Wicked.
And it's immediately when I get home. It was last night. I was with my family and didn't get much chance to see the rest of the film. But it's all I've been thinking about. It almost looks like there's a bit of school shooty vibes to the film. I mean, Gus Van Sant, who made Drugstore Cowboy, absolutely amazing director, captures a gritty side of 80s America where violence and sort of that kind of world he's captured. So
A documentary or like
no, it's a movie.
Oh, right, okay.
I think it's centred around violence in a school,
Okay.
particularly during...
It's a bit like Cobra Kai.
Yeah, don't think so. That's more...
Just finish that series.
Ka-cha!
Yeah,
but
what is their obsession with karate in the valley? But
yeah, what I've actually watched, I went back to one of my favourite films. I like to do this quite regularly to remind me why it is my favourite film.
Okay.
This is my number one, and it's Harmony Korine's Gumo from 1997.
Wow, good year for films.
Very good year for films.
Yeah.
Almost like 1994 was for British indie. But yes, Gumo by Harmony Korine in the 90s. Set in a tornado-ravaged town in Ohio.
Right.
So it's how the community kind of deal with the tornado ripping apart the town.
Yeah.
And it's based around these two kids, one called Solomon and one called Tumler or Tumlila or something like that. I can't remember his name. The other one's a little bit older, and he kind of takes him on a bit of takes like a young teenager.
Takes him under his wing.
Well, to do naughty things like brick windows and sniff glue.
No,
brick windows and sniff glue and teaching him all
Sniffing
wrong,
glue.
smoking fags behind trees and whatnot. But Harmony Korine, who made kids, he wrote kids at like 18, 19.
Right.
An absolute massive visionary.
Yeah.
He decided to go to some sort of, I don't want to use it in a derogatory term, but hillbilly towns in Ohio, and he'd capture real people and mix it in with these scripts.
Okay.
And these scenes of the real people are what make the film such a piece of beautiful art.
Right.
There's a little boy with rabbit ears. I think that's part of the script. Okay. But just the cinematography of seeing this boy in like an absolute ravaged hillbilly town. Right. One of the biggest highlights is these two twin brothers, and you can tell they obviously like a bit of a rumble between each other.
Backyard wrestling.
Having a little bit more than... Well, I suppose you could say...
Sorry to any of our trailer park fans, by the way. This is not a rip on you. This is
an
acknowledgement.
Yeah. The camera gets put on him, and you can tell he's sort of given them an opportunity to show themselves who they are, and one of them just starts to fill his brother in, and he wants to not make himself look like a complete twat on camera, so he starts giving it his brother back, but you can tell one of them's a little bit more into it than the other, and he full on just twats his brother on camera, and it's quite entertaining in a sort of crazy way. But Gumo
sort of a fly on the wall.
with those huge...
Is that the way it's filmed, like a fly on the wall?
Yeah, I mean, the people all know that the camera's there, but they've sort of been given that opportunity to show who they are and show what their what their piece of the world looks like, and they absolutely blossom into like some really peculiar and crazy things. Gumo by Harmony Korine will always be my number one film. I hope something will knock it off one day. Okay. But I reckon it's been up there for a good 4 or 5 years, so that is the main bunch I'm watching. Elephant next on.
Awesome, man. Where's it available?
I'm not too sure. I've not seen it. I mean, I've got the DVD. I'm an old classic guy, me. I've still got a box full of DVDs.
Still got VHSs.
I have a drawer underneath my PlayStation and TV that's full of my 20 or 30 favourite DVDs of all time. Stuff that you can't really get,
I'm
or
down with that.
You won't find on Sky or Prime or Netflix. There's stuff in there.
Cool, man.
Yeah,
so books.
Yeah.
We said we was going to kind of bring in another piece of the puzzle that we could kind of play around with. It may stay, it may not, but as we develop the show, we're kind of liking the feature. Obviously, I'm big into comics, and Wilson is big into books. This week, I have been reading. I've been reading a book actually. For come a long way a little bit. I passed my test and they allowed me to read books. I'm reading Howard Marks's Mr. Nice Guy. Really good book.
An absolute collection of amazing stories.
Yeah. So it's a collection of amazing stories, and kind of I'm not that far into it, but basically, he's going through the American judicial system. He's kind of talking a little bit how he acquired his Mr. Nice Guy passport. And then he threw some cats into the sea. So I'm a little bit like, it's been diverted, it's been kind of moved on to toilet read now. So I'm like, until he redeems himself, he's got to totally redeem himself from bullying the cats.
Is he dealing in manure yet?
Not
I think
yet.
it is manure.
Not yet.
Is he not dealing in manure yet?
Not yet. He's definitely not dealing in manure just yet. He's dealing in being a shit and throwing cats off boats.
He is balanced on moral ambiguity a lot through it, but the way he presents it and speaks it personally himself while he was alive, God rest his soul.
Yeah. So he's just his writing style is really, really, really engrossing. The guy is an absolute balloon. Yeah. But in all the right ways. Yeah. He's such an interesting guy.
He's an English Masters though, isn't he?
Yeah.
Did he do Masters at Oxford?
I do believe so.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how he crammed all this in. He seems like that guy that you speak to at a party and he's got all these amazing stories.
Yeah.
A little bit like myself. But, you're shouting shit. But never mind. So I've kind of flicked through and I'm all looking at my computer because I do have this edition on this. So I'm reading, I've started reading Dark Souls Beyond the Grave, which is, I think it's a two-part sort of compendium about two players' experiences with. I may be wrong, but that's kind of the way.
That's why two of them have written it together. Then
I think so. So. I've read a little bit. I've gone through the forward from our Lord and Saviour, not Miyazaki, but Vatividya himself,
King of the Aussies.
Feel free to share this channel for the shout out that we've just given you. But yeah, it's a really good read at the moment. I think it kind of mirrors what we all kind of felt when we first entered the Dark Souls universe and the reasons why, and the reasons.
We all fell in love with it so much.
Yeah, and the kind of reasons why you kind of play the game and then get engrossed into it, and kind of at the moment looks at how people may not kind of get involved in it, and they may be overbeared by the challenge that awaits them. What about yourself?
I actually brought a token, so I think it was last week.
Yeah.
I mentioned Flea, Acid for the Children.
Yeah.
A guy that's not wholly known for his writing skills, more his bass skills and his dancing skills.
Yeah.
But boy, can he write!
Okay.
It is pure gonzo journalism at its
Awesome.
finest. It stinks of Hunter S. Thompson.
Wicked.
It stinks of a guy who's got loads of humility, loads of experience, and has taken a lot of drugs.
Yeah.
And it put all them things together. And it's just absolutely beautiful. It goes from, such emotional moments, and then goes from times he's, been in crack and smack dens, like trying to get his band members out to.
Can you imagine being in a band with John Frusciante and fucking Anthony Kiedis?
Yeah, Anthony Kiedis,
and Chad,
who also wrote a very, very good autobiography, by the way. But Fleas is a little bit different. Again, by gonzo journalism, it's not a traditional autobiography as I was a baby, I was a teenager, I got famous, I got more famous, now I'm on drugs, and now I end the book. Yeah. It's just a man spewing, and he grabs it and shoves it, and there's only little chapters, and then there's a big chapter because he has to express himself more. But the way he presented it's just fucking really amazing. I couldn't recommend any musician. You wouldn't even particularly have to be a fan of Red Hot Chili Peppers. What I find more engrossing about the Chili Peppers is the characters of the band. Don't get me wrong, I like the band, and there's a lot of songs that I like. I wouldn't have them as a pinnacle of one of my favourite artists of all time, but the characters of Flea and Anthony and John Frusciante, they're such engrossing characters.
Proper rock stars.
Massively, and this might be my favourite one out of the band, so far.
Kind of, I've read a couple of is he completely autobiographical? Yeah, so that was the first time that I met Flea.
Nice.
So, he told me what a nice guy I was. It was. Am I boring you, sir?
No, just checking on the time. Gotta go and check the station's power system.
So, I'll send you all the photographs.
Oh, cheers.
And I did an amazing diary entry at the time. I put it on Bebo. It was it got a lot of likes. Flea, if you're out there, give us a bell, man. Give us a bell.
Long time.
Anyway, that is this week's Northern Undead Asylum wrapped up. Till next time, live long and prosper.
Peace.